Hey everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at questions 4 and 5. Mr. Price still collects CDs. He has a CD booklet for his car. The box plot shows the lengths of those CDs rounded to the nearest minute. And here's the box plot. Question 4. What is the IQR of the lengths of the CDs? Now remember, IQR stands for interquartile range. So that's from here to here. How long is the line that we could draw from here to here? How do we find it? We subtract the third quartile, or the upper quartile, which in this case is 54, and the lower quartile, or sometimes called the first quartile, is 36. Subtract those two numbers and it'll be one of these. Now number 5 is a little bit trickier because it says if Mr. Price puts two more CDs that are 38 minutes and 40 minutes, what would happen to the box plot? And they give us these choices. So I thought what I would do, let me write these numbers down somewhere else. Let's put it here, 38 and 40. Now, if we were to write out what hypothetically could be some values without the 38 and the 40, we know that 44 is the median, so that has to be the number in the middle. So what I did, just to help our brains wrap itself around this question, I said, what if there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values in the lower half of the data, which means there'd have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values in the upper half of the data. And what do we know? We know that 72 would be the high extreme. We know that 32 would be the low extreme. And we know the quartiles. So 36 would have to be in the middle of this lower half of the data. And 54 would have to be in the middle of the upper half of the data. So if we even just fill in some just hypothetical numbers that might be in between, because remember we would want to order the numbers from least to greatest. What if I throw like a number 33 here? And what if I put a number 37? And what if we put like the number 40 over here? Now, likewise, I could put some numbers that would be on this end. So maybe we might put in, how about we throw in a 46? How about we throw in a 47? And how about we throw in like a 62? All right, just as hypothetical numbers, and it could be. Now, if this is the data set, this box plot would go with what I have written here, even with the hypothetical numbers. So now it's a question of what would happen if we slipped in these two numbers. So let's visualize where they would go. So I might put the 38 over here, and I might put the 40 over here. Now actually, let's actually rewrite everything with those numbers added in. So we still have the 32. We have the 32, the 30, the hypothetical 33, the 36, the 37, and now we're saying we have this 38, we have the 40 that we're adding in, and then we have another 40, right, that I already put in there as a hypothetical, so I'll write it in blue so we keep that straight. And now we still have the 44, so let's write that in. I'll put it in green so remember that was the old median. And then we have the 46, the 47. So I'm just copying the numbers that I have here for before. The 54, the 62, and the 72. All right, so if we're slipping in two more numbers, because before in my hypothetical situation, how many values did we have? If we count, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 values. So we had 11 data points. So if we slip in two more data points, now we should have 13 data points. So let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 data points. Now, half of 13 would give us the midway point. Half of 13. Now, if you don't know how to do that on a calculator, I'll show you. 13 divided by 2, half of 13 is 6.5. So the halfway point is 6 5/10. Let me just write that down, what I'm calling the midpoint of my new data set, 6 5/10. Now we use the whole number, which in this case is 6, to count in from both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we might count in from the high end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now what happened, this is the new median, what happened to the new median when I slipped in a couple of numbers? Things shifted, right? Now let's use our hypothetical situation of throwing in these two extra numbers. to go through these answer choices to see if there are any we can eliminate or say, yeah, that happened in our hypothetical situation. So let's look at choice A. The first actually, before we even do that, let's look at the new quartile. The new quartile, if we examine with the new numbers slipped in there, because now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers in there, so we'd have to split that with 3 on one side and 3 on the other. So the quartile now would be a 36 and 5/10, because that's the average of these two numbers. And the upper quartile, we would count 1, 2, 3 in and split the data here. So we have 3 on the low end and 3 on the high end of the upper half of the data. So we would average these two numbers. And if we average those two numbers using the calculator, let's do that. So we're adding 47 and 54. 47 plus 54. We get 101, and we have to divide that by 2. And in this case, we got 50 and 5/10 as our upper quartile. All right, so now let's go through the choices and compare our situation with after adding the extra data points. All right, so A, the first quartile would decrease. Now, in this case, it didn't decrease, it increased. So I don't know if we would want to pick that. B, the median would stay the same. Now, the median definitely did not stay the same when we threw in these extra numbers, right? The median changed. C, the third quartile would increase. Now, our third quartile before, remember, was a 54. That was this. And it went down to a 50.5. So they're saying it's going to increase. Increase means it goes up. In our hypothetical example, it went down. D, the interquartile range would decrease. Now remember, before we subtracted this number and this number to get the IQR. Now to get the IQR of our new data set, we would have to take this number and subtract this number from it. So it might not be a bad idea to do that, just to look at it as a hypothetical. So we have 50 and 5/10, and we're subtracting from that the 36 and 5/10. So come up with the IQR for the new data set with the new numbers slipped in, and ask yourself which situation would be true.